Welcome to the Indie Author Showcase. I am multi-award-winning author Chad Robert Morgan.
I'm Alexander Scott Morgan. Happy we are now recording past 10 p.m. for once.
Yes, here's my son who is secretly trying to get us canceled.
No, I would never.
No, 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 you're not secretly trying to get us
No,
canceled, or no, it's not a secret.
no, I would never. That's so mean.
So let's start with we just had Monsterpalooza.
Yep,
Um, let's start with what worked and what didn't work.
I was there for a day.
Okay, um, so what didn't work was I missed you for the first 2 days.
Yep.
So, um, and it really sucked not having you for the first 2 days. Um, it really kind of tugged at the heartstrings when I'm sitting there, I'm carting stuff in by myself, and I'm seeing dads walk in with their little kids because they got the little kids helping them with their stuff. I'm like, oh, yeah, because you were unavailable.
Yep.
So that's
And you just had to do a lot more manual labor.
that sucked too. Yes, because I'm an old man. I'm an old man. I needed to. And he needed young Studley over here to do all the heavy lifting. Where were you? So
Sleeping.
sleeping, yeah. Um, I had to run the booth for the first 2 days by myself. That sucked. Um, Second thing that we had a problem with is, as I mentioned before, it helps to have a hook to get the audience to talk to you. And our hook were the bookmarks. And the first day, that worked really well. I sold almost as many books the first day as I did the second day. The first day is only from like 6 to 11, and most people don't sell well on the first day because, it's the first day. People are filling it out and everything like that. Reason I sold almost as well on the first day as I did the second day is because by about noon on the second day, I had burned through all my bookmarks. So I went there with 250 bookmarks and I burned through them in the first day and a half.
Yikes.
So after that, I started getting very selective, and I had to, like, is this person? It was almost like that Seinfeld skit. It's like, I don't know, is he bookmark worthy? You know. Um, you have never watched Seinfeld, have you?
Once or twice I
Yeah.
watched an episode.
Um, look up the sponge worthy episode. You might get that reference. Anyway, so that was an issue. Um, The last thing that I think was a problem, and this was beyond our control, is it's an election year and inflation's still bad. So I talked to one vendor who said that, because I asked him, I said, how'd you do and everything like that? And he says, yeah, I barely squeaked out a profit. I said, I made booth fees plus, um, he says, before COVID, I was making 6, 7, 8 grand at this thing. Now I'm barely making my booth fees. Um, so the crowds just didn't seem to be biting. Um, and one person was saying that it's enough. People seem to be fiscally conservative on election years because we're having a presidential election. They don't know who's going to be president. They don't know what's going to happen, and people start, you know, not spending money on things they don't really need because they don't know what's going to happen next. So, um, So I don't know. Maybe this is one of those things where we kind of got to ride it out, and maybe it gets better next year, or I don't know. We did okay. We didn't do quite as well as we did the first year. I think the first year, um, we made just a little bit more than booth fees, and this year we made just a little bit less than booth fees. So about the same as we did the first year.
Well, a little worse.
I'm a little worse. Um, what I was hoping for was the big 3D prints would sell. and that would make it. And nobody bought those, which I thought was disappointing. Now, what worked? Let's go from that to the positives. What worked was people loved those. Everybody was coming up to take pictures of them. Everybody was talking to them, talking about them. That got people to the booth to look at them. Um, Lots of people were taking pictures of them. We didn't meet the one guy from WonderCon who we had discussed the big ones, and it's like, oh, you brought him. Oh, he's so beautiful. Oh my God, I wish I had the money to take. Oh, that's exactly what you quoted me. That's how much you said it was going to be. Oh, it's so beautiful and everything. Um, so I mean that was good. So as a marketing tool, at the very least, the big 3D prints worked. Um, so that was a positive. We did have some repeat business. We had some people that had seen us before that enjoyed the books from the previous years that wanted to see what the next one was and everything like that. Um, so that worked really well. Uh, what was really nice was having you on the third day, especially for the loadout, because that was a lot of work. What also worked really nice was we had an early day load in. So I was able to go there the day before and do a lot of the big stuff because I had to do it solo. And that gave me a few hours head start. And setup wasn't that bad. It would have kind of been nerve-wracking to do all of that the day of. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, but since I had that head start, all I had to really do was bring in the merch and set everything up. So that took some of the pressure off. I didn't have that hard deadline I had to worry about. So that part worked well. Um, but there was a snip, snip. There was a couple times when somebody walked by and we're doing our pitch and it's like, oh, I got the book. It's like, did you like it? I just started reading it. I'm only a few chapters in. Do you like it? Yes. That kind of thing. So, not that, well, I mean, I guess it depends on the person, but nobody was at least telling me to my face, oh my God, that book sucked. You know what I mean? We had people that said, oh, I got your book last year. Oh, yeah, it was good. I liked it and everything like that. Um, so and some people were very enthusiastic about it. Oh my God, yes, it was very good. I will be back next year. I want to see what your next book is, that kind of thing. So we were getting some of that. So definitely we're getting positive feedback. Um, so we have about 2.5 to 3 months before we have our back-to-back cons in Los Angeles and Ontario. So to prepare for that, we need to learn the lessons from the previous one, which is one, um, we need a lot more bookmarks, and we got to not only prepare for one con, we got to prepare for two cons. So I'm going to order like 1,000 of them. I need to make sure we have plenty because we're not going to have a chance to restock from one con to the next, and we need to make sure we did. Oh, that's another thing that went well too is that we sold a lot of books. Um, Now we talked about how we usually supplement booth fees by selling some of the other stuff like our 3D prints and stuff like that. We didn't sell any 3D prints. We sold, I think, about 3 or 4 t-shirts, right? The rest of that was books. We went there with 5 boxes of books. We came back with two.
Two, two.
Um, so yeah, because we had Baby Eater in hardcover and paperback, Last Rite in hardcover and paperback, and we had um,
Short
Short
bites.
Bites in only paperback because it's uh, what do you call it, the young adult novel and everything like that. It's a much lighter read. Um, So yeah. So in all fairness, all five boxes weren't like full to the brim. I think Baby Eaters and Last Right were pretty full, if I remember right. Um, Short Bites was Short Bites had some room in there. But yeah, we went there with five boxes. We came back with two. We crammed everything into the two boxes. So we sold a lot of books to almost make booth fees off of books alone. Um, so that part's good. So that was also a positive. So we need to stock up on books and we need to stock up on bookmarks. The other thing I need to work on is because I'm scrubbing through some of these videos that people took at Monsterpalooza. And like there's one where you catch a sight of me for like 3 seconds. The guy didn't even turn. And it really amazes me because all these people were taking videos of the 3D prints, right? And they were getting right in there and looking at it and all these pictures and everything like that. And I ain't found one of them yet. So I don't know where all these pictures are. I found one person that posted the book think about the Baby Eater. I'm like, look, I bought the book. It's about Filipino mythology. Saw that on Instagram. But for all the pictures that were taken of these 3D prints, I ain't found one of them online yet. No YouTube videos or Snapchats or does anybody use Snapchat anymore?
I have no idea. I never use Snapchat.
I think I used it for a hot minute. Everybody, that actually brings up a good point. So on the back of the bookmark, we had all of our socials, including the link to this podcast. We had our TikTok, our Facebook, our Instagram, Pinterest. I mean, even stuff I don't think we even use anymore. Um, the the one social everybody was asking me is, "Are you on Instagram?" Nobody was asking what our TikTok was. Nobody was asking what our Facebook was. They were asking where was our store and if we were on Instagram. Those were the only two things people wanted to know.
Well, what other social medias do people use?
Um, well, I mean, I guess that's the point I'm making is that that's the go-to. Like nobody was asking if I was on Threads.
Threads.
Well, exactly. Threads is Facebook's answer to Twitter.
Oh, you can't just like make stuff up.
No, no, no. There's really a thing called Threads.
Like I said, you don't need to lie about fake social medias.
I'm not lying about fake social medias. There's really a thing called Threads.
Uh, no. Yeah,
No,
no. No,
there,
it's
there is, and there's still a thing called Snapchat, even though I don't think anybody uses it.
you all fibbing to me.
I would never.
You're lying.
I would never.
Threads is not a thing.
It's a thing. I can show you our thread.
You have a thread?
I have a thread. Technically, I have two. I have one for me, and I have one for Spectral Ink. And because it's Meta, it's linked to my Facebook and linked to my Instagram.
Oh.
Yep.
I still don't believe you.
Well, it's definitely not as popular as X, formerly known as Twitter, especially now that X allows pornography.
That was always kind of like allowed. This is like,
It was never allowed. I think they just couldn't. They didn't know how to get rid of it, and so now they're like, it's like pornography's bad. It must. We need to get it off. How do we do that? I don't know. Okay, fuck it. It can stay. So now it's just blatant and it's on there. And I think the warning sign was when it changed its name to X.
yeah, no, that's not a good look.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 5 years from now, it's probably going to change its name to XXX, but
Thanks.
chicka wow wow,
Oh no.
wow wow. Um, Anywho, but yeah, so that's our Monsterpalooza wrap up.
Yep.
So our next convention is HorrorCon. and that's in September 13th and 14th.
Yay.
And then the week after that is Creep IE. I'm really excited about Creep IE because that Creep IE in Ontario is huge. That is big. That is, in fact, I think if you're talking about size, actual, not in terms of influence, but in terms of actual floor space, I think it's bigger than Midsummer Scream. So the crown jewel around here would be Midsummer Scream. Um, but Creep IE is like I said, your mother and I went there. We went to check it out. Just gigantic. Like uh, Monsterpalooza took up the entire Pasadena Convention Center. Ontario, I think, is at least 50% bigger than that.
Well, the Pasadena Convention Center isn't even that big.
It's not that big now. I mean, it was a very busy convention, but it's not a very big convention. I mean, if you're talking about floor space, you know what I mean? I mean, it was busy, but it was not like, I mean, keep in mind, we're a little spoiled because we started this at San Diego Comic-Con. They don't get bigger than San Diego Comic-Con.
That's
Um,
that's a big one.
yeah, we're a little spoiled. So, we will not at this rate be doing San Diego Comic-Con. And I'm kind of glad because we always lose money at San Diego Comic-Con. San Diego Comic-Con, even when we get the booth for free, we still end up spending so much money on it. Uh, so yeah, we will not be doing it this year, and I'm not crying over it. So San Diego Comic Con's a hard sell.
It is.
It is. Anyway, WonderCon was way better for us, and it's the same people actually. So anyhow, so on these podcasts we tend to ramble a lot. So
A little. We tend to get a little off track.
So I want to try to keep it a little bit more concise and disciplined. So let's, instead of rambling for 15 minutes and go on for 45 minutes, let's see if we can keep it to a nice, trim, concise 30 minutes, and let's go on to our book review.
All right, you name the book.
Well, we actually had an audiobook, so I don't have the book in front of me to present. So if you could bring it up on your phone and read the synopsis for our site. You didn't bring your phone with you. You always have your phone with you. So this book was written by several brothers that we met at WonderCon.
Yep.
And they wrote exclusively sci-fi. And this book is part of a series that is very militaristic sci-fi.
Yep.
So why don't you go ahead and read the synopsis for us there.
For Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning.
Please pull up. Oh my goodness.
Maybe look into the camera.
I'm,
Stare deep into the camera.
oh, I'm pulling it up. It's not working with me. Title details. There you go. I got it. You ready?
I've been ready, yes.
Captain William Brighton has been entrusted by his superiors with a revolutionary starship, one destined to face the known universe. With it, no place is far too. Well, it's hard to look at me at the same time.
Let's start over.
Captain William Brighton has been entrusted by his superiors with a revolutionary starship, one destined to change the face of the known universe. With it, no place is too far to explore. But such a prize turns out to be too intoxicating for others to ignore. The competition manages to infiltrate Brighton's team and take control of the ship. Cast adrift with those loyal to him with no power, no way to navigate, and little food, Brighton must push his team to the limits of endurance in order for them to survive. Hunted by others who also want the technological secrets, Brighton cannot allow them to simply stay put and wait to be rescued. His wounded pride will allow no other outcome than the retaking of a stolen ship, and justice for those responsible for its theft. In order to bring this to pass, though, Brighton and his crew must do the impossible, Set course for Earth and hold it to it with only the stars still by. If the captain's reckoning is wrong, they'll all be dead. Dead reckoning, even.
So, how'd you feel about the book?
It was boring.
So, um, I liked it, but I think the reason why I liked it and you didn't was because I have a military background. So for me, it was kind of familiar territory. So the way the book reads, it is a bunch of excerpts from logs and reports. It's meant to be very documentary style, right?
Yep.
Which kind of makes it a little dry on the offset, right? You know, documentaries tend to be that way. Um, it did remind me a little bit about like for example, take World War Z, right? World War Z I thought was very, very fascinating, but it too was written in a very interview style manner, right? So this is sort of like a sci-fi version of World War Z kind of thing. Is that kind of similar style? So that didn't detract from it for me, right? So I dug it, and it was all about the mutiny, uh, them trying to survive it, them trying to turn the tables, trying to get back. There's another party that's trying to pursue them, so they're trying to escape the pursuers. So for the most part, I liked it. There was a couple of parts about the book that I thought could have been a little bit better. One was in the beginning, the mutiny. So the captain is assigned a ship from this other guy, right? And he's a little resentful because he was supposed to be in charge. Um, but Brighton is assigned the ship because there's a security leak. This is a top secret ship. There's special circumstances. Um, so he's there to deal with security concerns. Um, and they catch the leaker, but what they don't know is that there's a second one, and the second mole is actually using the first one as cover, right? Because nobody suspects two of them. They plug one hole and they think that they're done. So that's how the second one gets away with it. They talk about this friendship he has with this other captain, the one that he keeps on as his XO, the one that commits the mutiny. And there's this betrayal that they talk about. That one felt very, that relationship felt very superficial. Like I didn't really feel that there was a relationship there. I mean, it was mentioned in the journals. Oh, I knew him back then, and we piled around and everything. Now, again, this is all like diary and journal entries and reports and everything like that. So the whole um, format of the story is doesn't lend itself well to two guys sharing a drink over memory lane or anything like that. Um, but the fact that they try to make a deal over the fact that they had this friendship and he felt betrayed, that that part didn't feel earned, right? Um, so that part I thought was very, very weak. The only other critique I had with the book, and again, I think one of the reasons why it was written this way, because of all these different reports, is because the brothers are writing it as a group, right? So each one of them is writing from a different character perspective and is writing it a different uh, report, right, or different journal entry, um, which makes the characters feel very unique. I like that part about it. What I didn't, one of the downsides of it is I did feel on occasion I was getting the same information twice. Um, it did feel like it could have served from another editing pass. So, for the most part, I liked the book. I thought it was an interesting approach. Again, these brothers are writing this book as a team, and each one is writing you know, a different character in writing their own journals as if they're experiencing um, this mutiny, and it's all about how are they surviving, how they're going to deal with food, how are they going, they're on a crippled ship, how are they going to get the power up the ship so they can get home, because they could park the ship and wait it out and wait for help to arrive, or they can try to make sure that the bad guys don't get away with the ship, so they're trying to beat the ship home because the captain also crippled the ship they're trying to steal, right? So they want to get back to Earth to narc on them so they can bust them before they can fix the ship. So there's that kind of race against time, and both sides are running out of fuel, they're running out of food, um, and that kind of thing. So, um, like I said, it's a lot of strategy, it's a lot of planning, it's a lot of plotting, it's a lot of um, that gave it a sense of realism to me, which it kind of harkens to more of your gritty, realistic sci-fi. Um, so again, I kind of dug it. It's not Star Wars, right? You're not zooming through hyperspace with space swords, right? This is more akin to Gravity or 2001. It's very um, uh, real world influenced. Light speed is a thing. Gravity is a thing. That kind of. You can't just magically wave a wand and create a MacGuffin that suddenly you don't have gravity in your ship, or you do have gravity in your ship. Like you do in Star Trek. That kind of thing. So
Yeah, I just thought the way it was written was pretty boring. Um, the way it was written was kind of boring. I don't know, I just didn't like that. The military aspect just kind of made it kind of boring. So that just makes sense.
and that's fine. Split decision. We've had a split decision before. That's fine. That proves that we're giving honest reviews. We're not just you know these aren't just puff pieces. We are giving our honest opinions on these things.
Mhm.
Um, as we said before, if we have a book that neither one that we just think is just trash, we're not going to uh, bring it up here just to trash it, because the goal of this is to bring people up, not to tear them down. But not every book is for everybody. Some of my books are horror, and not people don't like blood and guts and everything. They like romance or fantasy or something like that. It's all about finding the genre you want. This was not your genre, because it was, from your standpoint, it was very, very dry. From my standpoint, I appreciated it because it was more akin to my life experiences. So, and that's fair. Split decision.
Yeah.
So, and what book was this, and who wrote it? Because I
It
don't.
was Dead Reckoning by
Maybe do another take on.
it was Dead Reckoning by Jeffery L. Cheney, Craig J. Cheney, and Jared L. Cheney. Boom.
All right. So, again, let's see if we can't keep these podcasts a little bit more trimmed and a little less
45 minutes
45 minutes.
with an hour long.
I don't mind them being 45 minutes as long as it's not just 45 minutes of us rambling and going back over things we've said 5 times. Let's keep it more clean and moving forward. So with that, let's wrap it up with how can people find us?
Go to a website. Website. Say the website.
I was hoping you would say the
I don't know the
website.
website, dude.
How do you not know the website? We've gone over it 100 times.
Spectral Ink. Shop Spectral Ink.
There you go. ShopSpectralInk.com,
Yeah.
where you can find our books. You can find links to find our books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, iTunes. In fact, The Last Ride is now available on Spotify. You also can find our merch. You can order our 3D prints. You can order t-shirts, blankets, pillows, coffee mugs, you name it. We got all kinds of, most of our products are produced by Printful.
It really is on Spotify.
Yeah, The Last Ride is on Spotify. It's the first one that I've done on Spotify.
I
So,
didn't even know you could put audio audiobooks on Audible. I didn't know that.
of course, you can put audiobooks on Audible.
I don't know, but when's the last time you ever heard of anyone doing an audiobook on Audible?
Like, that was the whole purpose of doing Audible. I think you mean audiobooks on Spotify.
Oh, on Spotify, yeah.
Yes.
I didn't even know you could put them on Spotify.
Yeah, no, that's a thing.
Wow, I didn't know that existed.
So that is due to our partnership with our friends at Findaway Voices. Now, in order to put The Last Ride on Spotify through Findaway Voices, I had to make it no longer an Audible exclusive.
Oh,
So, but The Last Ride, I had taken it off as an Audible exclusive because I had burned through all my promo codes already anyway. So as the other ones eat up all their promo codes and uh, basically the major benefits of being an Audible only uh, book kind of start to peter out, make them take them off as an Audible exclusive, and I could start porting them over to Spotify.
right. And what's on Spotify? How many sales have you gotten on Spotify?
I have no idea, probably none.
Oh, Spotify moment.
But I got a lot of promo codes from, which means I get to do them all over again.
Yay.
So, but yes, if you want to support us, you want to support what we're doing, first thing you can do, subscribe to the podcast.
And then give me money.
Can you at least pretend to be enthusiastic?
I'm saying give me money would be kind of helpful to my ability to gain money.
Well, even if you don't want to give us money, what can they do? They can subscribe to the podcast. They can share the podcast.
Venmo me. Venmo me $50.
Or they could buy one of our books. Or they can leave a review of one of our books if they've already read it.
Or they could Venmo me $50.
Or they can follow us on one of our social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Threads. Yes, Threads. It exists. We are on X. And we promise we don't post porn.
They could just Venmo me $50.
You mumble like that, nobody's going to hear
They
you.
could just Venmo me $50.
Well, that will help you, not us. We're trying to build an audience.
Anyways, it's getting about that time, ladies and gentlemen. And so with this, we must bid you toodaloo.
We really need to find a better sign off than
I like toodaloo.
I really don't like Toodaloo.
I really love toodaloo.
All right.
How am I supposed to live if I'm letting my friends know I get hit with a little toodaloo and they're like, oh, bye, dude. And I'm like, oh, yeah, toodaloo. What am I going to do if I can't hit them with toodaloo?
Until next time, I'm Chad.
I'm Alex.
And this has been the Indie Author Showcase.
Toodaloo.